All right, today we're going to dive into one of the biggest, most common frustrations when you're learning a new language. We're going to unpack a really simple technique that's designed to close that gap. You know the one, the gap between what you know in a language and what you can actually say out loud.
I mean, you've been there, right? You've studied the vocabulary lists, you've memorized the grammar rules, you can look at a sentence and understand it perfectly. But then somebody asks you a simple question and your mind just goes completely blank. It's a universal feeling for language learners, and man, is it frustrating.
Well, guess what? There's actually a name for this. It's called the knowing-doing gap. It's that huge chasm between passively understanding something and actively doing it. And you know what? Just giving it a name is the very first step toward figuring out how to build a bridge across it.
So here's the bottom line. Knowing about a language just isn't the same as using a language. One is like storing information on a hard drive. The other is a live performance. It's really the difference between reading a cookbook and actually cooking the meal. This is the big question, isn't it? How do we take all that knowledge we've stored away and turn it into a spontaneous, active skill? Here's a hint. It's not about cramming more words or more grammar rules. It's about a totally different kind of practice.
And the answer, it turns out, is kind of hiding in plain sight. It's in a simple blueprint for a classroom activity. In fact, the entire key can be found in just one single sentence from a teaching guide.
And here it is. This one sentence is our entire source material for today. Now, it might look really simple, maybe even obvious, but I promise you, hidden in these words is a powerful engine for building real conversational fluency, and we are going to take it apart, piece by piece.
So let's really deconstruct this idea, because this isn't just about telling students to go talk. Hidden inside this simple instruction is a beautifully designed system for getting people out of their own heads and into a real conversation, but in a way that feels safe and structured. So, how does this conversational engine, as I called it, actually run? Well, it all functions on a simple three-step cycle.
Okay, first, you share something about yourself, your hobbies. This is super low pressure because, hey, you're the expert on you. Second, your peers ask you questions, and this part introduces a little unpredictability. And third, you have to answer on the spot. This is where the magic happens. It forces you to actually access and use your language knowledge in real time.
So you see the difference here? A typical classroom drill is repetitive and predictable. You know it's coming. A real conversation is messy. It's dynamic, it's spontaneous. This activity simulates a real conversation, but it does it inside a safe, controlled environment. And that distinction is absolutely fundamental.
So, okay, we know how it works, but let's dig into why it's so powerful. The design of this activity actually addresses the key psychological barriers that create that knowing-doing gap in the first place.
The real power here is in how these elements all work together. It's built on sharing something personal, which automatically lowers the barrier to entry. It's framed as an opportunity, not a test. And that group setting, that creates a crucial sense of, hey, we're all in this together.
Let's just put it side by side. Traditional drills, often led by the teacher, and that can feel like a high-stakes performance where you're terrified of getting the answer wrong. But this peer-led group discussion, it's all about authentic communication. The goal isn't to say a perfect sentence, the goal is just to be understood. And that shift, from performance to practice, that changes everything. And this brings us to an absolutely critical concept, the low-stakes environment. See, when you take away the fear of making a mistake, your brain is suddenly free to experiment, to try out new words, to build sentences on the fly. Confidence isn't built by being perfect. It's built by practicing and realizing it's okay to make mistakes.
So what's the end result of all this? Where does this simple little activity lead? Well, it leads directly to that bridge we've been talking about, the one that gets you across the gap.
And there it is, the ultimate transformation. This isn't about just adding more information to the library in your head. It's about building the neural highway that gets that information out into the world. It's the actual process of rewiring your brain to not just know words, but to use them.
And really, there's just one single goal: to make communication possible. To take language out of the textbook and put it into the real world, connecting one person to another. And for so many of us, that's the whole point of learning a language in the first place.
Think of it like this. You can't learn to swim just by reading a book about swimming, right? You actually have to get in the water. This activity is the pool. And every time you ask a question, answer a question, or tell a little story about your hobby, you're doing a rep. You are building the neural pathways, that conversational muscle memory, that makes speaking feel more and more automatic over time.
Ultimately, this is just a powerful reminder that the most profound learning tools aren't always some complex new technology. Sometimes they're just simple, well-designed human interactions. And it leaves us with a question to think about. What other simple blueprints for learning are hiding right there, in plain sight?